Anshi, and I'm here to talk to Professor Mukund about Krishna and Krishna Janmashtami, since it's around the corner. So before we begin, I want all of you to know who he is. So sir, what do you do and what's your take on Indian culture, Indian traditions, the Vedic knowledge?
Yeah, my name is P.R. Mukund. I grew up here in Bangalore, and I was raised here. And 45 years ago, I went to the US, initially as a student, and then stayed back. And currently, I'm a professor of electrical engineering in a university called Rochester Institute of Technology, which is in upstate New York. And what I do is my field of research and teaching is in design of chips. You know, what is inside. Especially my focus is on RF and analog integrated circuits. Okay. It's the type of chip you find inside your mobile phone, for example. Just to put things in perspective, if you were to take all the people in India and all the streets in India and reduce it to 1 inch by 1 inch, that's the kind of complexity that is there, because there are billions of transistors. They're all connected and we have to make them do things. So just to give you scale of what we do, that's what I do. But beyond that, I think that the Vedika Sampradaya is what I would call it, the Vedic tradition, is many tens of thousands of years old at the least. And so what I found was that many decades ago I was fortunate to come across a guru who introduced me to this. And as I look more and more into that, I find that there is so much depth in terms of science. And these are things that we can actually get it from, extract things from there and implement it in our daily lives. And that can make our life, be it personal, professional, spiritual, whatever, it can elevate that to a very high level. And so what I attempt to do is to extract principles from the Vedic tradition and put it in colloquial terms and make it applicable to life today.
Okay, so Veda as a way of life.
Veda as a way of life, that's right.
Alright, that's nice. So there's another thing about Krishna. It's his notorious behavior. He does things, I mean, we were talking about how he spreads joy everywhere. He used to steal butter. He used to steal butter and eat it, and all the ladies in the town would complain. In fact, his mother was always tired of him doing that. I don't think, if we did it, I don't think anybody would like it. But why do we praise that Krishna always stole butter? Why do we look at it as a very good sign? So what is the reason? He did not even have to steal butter. His mom made it for him. But why did he always steal it?
Yes. Before I can answer that question, there's one thing that we have to talk about, which is in Sanskrita, like, you know, Sri Krishna, we refer to him as Navnita Chora. Chora means thief. Navnita is butter. Okay.
Correct.
Nava means 9. So what is 9 got to do with butter? Like, why is butter called, you know, like if you take any language, like in English we say butter, in my mother tongue Kannada we'll say benne. These things you cannot break it up or something. Why in Sanskrit we refer to that as Navanita? 9 nitis. What 9 what? So the clue is right there in that word, which is that there are 9 forms of bhakti, devotion. Okay. So butter, symbolically, it immediately, if you look at that word, it says, oh, they're talking about bhakti. So it is symbolic. So for that, you have to go to the source of the butter. You were talking about that earlier, you asked me, is that how do you make butter?
Yes.
Right? The starting point is milk, cow milk, right? So the cow, if you, again, I'm not talking about physical things, I'm talking about energy.
Right.
Okay. So the cow milk, as you may call it, is what comes from Ved Mata. So the milk which is the knowledge, the Vedic knowledge that comes from Vedmata, the Vedic knowledge, is the milk. Now you can drink that, you can learn Vedic knowledge, it's good for you, but it's not butter. So just because you learnt a lot of things and you become a Pandit doesn't mean that Sri Krishna will accept it. You know where I'm going?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
So now what happens is there are people who think that, oh, if I learn a lot and I become a scholar, that God is pleased. No, who said that? See, I mean, knowledge is good. You know, I'm a professor, you know, yeah, I guide PhD students, I've done all that, but yeah, that's all fine, that's great, but that doesn't mean that Sri Krishna is going to come and say, aha, this guy knows how to design chips, you know. Yeah, no, he couldn't care less, right? It doesn't matter, he's not accepting that. So the question is, what do I do now? So what is the next level? So what you do is you want to convert, because milk, you know why milk is not, because milk is fluid. You put milk in a bottle, it will take the shape of the bottle. You put it in some other vessel, it takes that shape. So this knowledge is very fluidic knowledge. You're not there yet, because you take the shape, this knowledge, you take the shape of whatever container you're in. Okay? So first step in converting to something more solid is going from milk to yogurt, curds, right? That process, what is the first thing you do? You boil the milk. First you boil the milk, then you let the temperature come down, right? Why are we doing this? Why are we heating it up and then, well, because anything unwanted in that milk will go away when you boil.
Interesting.
So I take this Vedic knowledge and I contemplate on that. That is heating it up, energize it. Then all the unwanted stuff will go away. Then you forget about it. So let it cool down. When it's lukewarm, not totally forget it. When it's lukewarm, at that time, how do you make curds? You take a little bit of curds from yesterday, put it in the milk, and then stir it, let it sit. This is mantra, this is upadesha from a guru. If you did not have curds from yesterday, there's no way you can make curds today. Right? You can have all the milk you want. I don't care, best fantastic milk you can do. You can do anything in this world, but if you don't have yogurt from yesterday, curds from yesterday, you're not going to make curds today. And even in English, the word they use for that is culture. Interesting, they use the word culture for that. The yogurt culture, right? So what is that knowledge, what is that solidified knowledge from yesterday? It's my guru. Where did he get that? From his guru. So you say, where did the first yogurt come from? Okay, so we actually say prayers of Brahmanta Guru was Sakshat, it came directly from Brahma, So wherever it comes from, who cares? At this point in time, one thing is that your knowledge, I don't care how smart you are. I don't care how much you study. I don't care how much you know. Unless Guru Upadesha happens, that knowledge will never get solidified. That's why this concept of Gurutva has been given so much importance in our culture.
Correct.
Right? Gurus are very important. A proper Guru who has solid knowledge. Okay? So when he gives you the Upadesha, it gets mixed up with my own knowledge, so to speak. And over time, it takes time. Over time, like when you make curds, you come and look at it next morning, it's all solid. Not only that, when you taste it, it doesn't taste like milk at all.
It's changed.
It's totally changed. Similarly, this Vedic knowledge after the Guru Upadesha not only becomes solidified, it's different. It's not the same thing anymore. Even that is not Navanita, it's not butter. So you keep mathana, you keep churning it, right? So the churning is application of that solidified knowledge in your life in every single thing that you do. Every single thing you apply that. You keep on doing that. At some point, magically the butter will appear. So when you do that, that Nija Bhakti will appear. So actually when they talk about Sri Krishna as stealing the butter, now that is something he will accept. That Nija Bhakti, not emotion, not just going to some temple and saying, hey Krishna, giving a banana, coconut, he doesn't need any of those things. He doesn't even need the butter. That's why he's called Navanita Chora. So he will come and take that without your own knowledge. You would have accepted that. So that true bhakti, I don't want to use the word devotion because that's not a correct, that doesn't quite explain bhakti. Right? It's not emotion.
Okay.
Sometimes it may manifest itself emotionally. But Nija Bhakti is inside. It's not something that you display on the outside. So that bhakti, when you have that, Sri Krishna will always accept that without your own knowledge.
Wow, it has a beautiful meaning to it. And that's really nice to know.
Excuse me. Yep. So that's why he's referred as Navanita Chora. So my goal, even the Gopika Stris, yes, they would go complain. So your son is coming, stealing, but one day if he did not come, they'd be very sad. They'd be very sad.
Yeah.
They want him to come and steal. So similarly, all of us, we want him to come and steal.
So Professor, there's another thing very beautiful about Krishna, very different about Lord Krishna. It's his dance drama, it's his Ras Leela. So whenever he played his flute, all the gopis would come around him and dance in trance. So why is that? What was about the flute? What was about that music which nobody could get over in the town? Wherever he went, wherever he played the flute, it was just so good. And what is the reason behind this? And it looks like I've missed out on this, but I'm just seeking for answers now.
Well, okay, so Venunada, even like if you look at Srimad Bhagavatam, various places, they even say that forget about Gopika Stris. If Sri Krishna started playing his flute, they say that a cow sitting chewing the cud, right, eating the grass. So cows, they eat the grass, they go sit somewhere and chew the cud, and I believe they get so entranced by that. They'd stop chewing the cud and they'll just sit there, they stop that. It was that,
wow,
amazing, right? To answer that question, you should first look at the flute itself. Like you said, why the flute? Why not something else? Like why not the veena or some other instrument? They're all as nice. So it's not about the music itself. There's one very important thing I'll share with you today, okay? Which I don't recall doing that at least recent times. There's one interesting connection which people don't make, which is if you look at the flute, okay, let's start with the material that is used for the flute. It's a bamboo, right? So bamboo, as you know, is a reed, right? It's you know what a bamboo is. So the thing is, it doesn't bear any fruit, it doesn't do anything, it lives once and it dies. That's all, right? And that particular, if we can also do the same thing, right? We are born, don't do anything worthwhile, and we die. But at the same time, if you were to take that material, this sadhan sharira, right? Think of it as a bamboo, okay? And then you take a piece of that, and then you put some holes in that at the right places.
Okay.
See, you cannot take a piece of bamboo and make a flute out of that without making holes in that thing, right? You agree? Okay.
Absolutely.
So you blow air on one side, and then you control how that wind that is blown into the thing, that wind comes out is what creates the music.
Yes.
Right? Now, if the player knows, if he's a good musician, he'll know exactly how to control that, and good music results from that. So if I look at my existence, right, and I sort of poke holes in that, in other words, what comes out of this? What comes out of this sharira? It could be speech, it could be something I do, it may be something else where I go do something. So there are various things that I can do using this sadhan sharira, right? And when you combine all those things, if it's controlled properly, can create that Krishna's Venunada in my life.
This is thought-provoking now.
Right?
This is wonderful.
Now, there's something even better than that. It's much better than that. So the question is, the interesting thing is, if you look at the Saptaswara, like if you look at our classical traditional music, Sa Re Ga Ma Pa Da Ni, 7. Then so it goes into the next octave, right? You can also go down, you can also go up, right? So you're in this, so this Saptaswara is increasing in frequency. Sa, Re, Ga, Ma. You notice the change in frequency? You're going up in frequency, okay? Now, there's something else like that you are looking at right now, which you may not even be aware of, which is the sunlight. Sunlight also has 7 components. I must have told you in school, violet, indigo, blue, Vibgaya as they call it, right? Green. So the lowest frequency in that is red. So that is like this. So red. So there is a connection between the Saptaswara of music and the 7 layers of light, energy. Okay. So according to our shastras, each color, each energy, type of energy has a color, not just matter, but energy also has color. For example, the red color represents kama, desire. That's why when we do Ganesh Puja and all that, we use red flowers and all these things. Anyway, let's not get into those. Let's focus on Krishna. So the red energy that comes from the sunlight, from the infinite source, that actually is given to all of us. So in that Venunada, the first level is given to all of us uniformly, whether we realize it or not, whether you know anything about Krishna or not. Everybody has desire of something, okay? The question is, just like this scaling, when you go from you go to Re, you're going to the question is, if you look at the light, right, what are these transitions? Well, if you start with red as the bottom, and there are things below red, there's infrared, but we cannot perceive that. Just like in the sound, you can hear only from, say, about 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. That's an audible range. You cannot, it doesn't mean there's no frequencies above that or below that. We cannot hear that sound. So similarly, I cannot feel something, like you can give me energy that's below the red. But as a human being, I'm incapable of, I cannot even experience that. So desire is my starting point. As a human being, desire is my starting point. Animals do things according to intuition. We do things according to intellect and desire. Right? An animal will eat only when it's hungry. I will eat a gulab jamun even when I'm full. If an animal is full, you put food right in front of it, it won't eat, it'll just walk away. Take a dog, put some dog food in front of it. If it's full, you just look at that and just walk away. We are not like that. You put gulab jamun in front of me, I'll say, and then I'll eat one, right? Whether I need it or not, like it or not, I'll eat it, right? So desire, because I want to experience something. The desire to experience something nice is something that is common to all of us, across the board. So the Sa part in Krishna's Venunada is given to you, free. Everybody got the first note. Now you want to hear music. I cannot sit here and keep saying, Sa. That's not music. If I keep on saying, okay, I'll sing for you. You come and say, okay, go ahead and sing. I say, Sa. After 2 minutes, you'll say, idiot. That's not music, man. What are you doing? So desire itself doesn't create nada.
Exactly.
it's the transition. There's Arohana and Avrohana in classical music. That is ascending order, descending order. So if you take it any raga, for it to be nice, the different ragas create different moods, okay, depending on how you ascend and descend. But we are doing this in these 7 layers, right? 7 steps rather. So if you look at the other things, if you look at the next few layers, so what comes after red?
The pure. So orange.
Orange. It's actually, in English they call it orange, it's actually kesari, saffron color.
Okay.
Saffron color. Saffron represents Vairagya. Energy was Vairagya. Vairagya, that's why you see all the Swamijis and all that wear saffron. Yeah.
Wear saffron.
Yeah, that represents Vairagya. And that our whole nation uses saffron as a bhauta. Right? That's our color. So Vairagya is our way of life.
That's wonderful. I mean,
and what is Vairagya? Vairagya is not running away from things.
Correct.
See, people know Vairagya means I am not interested in all that. Suppose my grandson comes to me, wants to play, and says, I have Vairagya, I don't want to play with you. And that's not Vairagya, that's stupidity. Okay? So that's not the point. Vairagya is not running away from something. Vairagya is running towards something. So when you're running towards that infinite one, other things become less important. That's all. It doesn't matter that much. So that lack of obsession with things is Vairagya. And for you to lack, the mind is going to be obsessed about something. Trust me, it will. So whatever, it may be food, it may be a person, it may be a concept, whatever. So people get obsessed, right? But obsession is not good with anything, be it a material thing, be it a person or something, a concept even. Obsession is not good. So that lack of obsession is represented by that saffron color. Vairagya. And we in this land, in Bharata Desha, that is our main thing. In the Vedic Parampara, lack of obsession is our way of life.
Great.
Right? So the next level, when you do sadhana, so if you hear the second note in Krishna's music, what you get is Vairagya. Just second note. Now you have only 2 notes. So that music you're hearing is only 2 notes, which is better than 1 note. Okay? So what is the next color?
Yellow.
Yellow represents, haldi, turmeric.
Turmeric.
That is, it is a disinfectant. Right?
Yes.
That's why we use turmeric in our food, and
Correct.
if you have a cut, you can put turmeric and all. So it's a disinfectant. It kills unwanted bacteria and all that, right? So now what happens is, if you go toward, this is all going towards Krishna, and try to hear his music. So you want to hear his music, you have to bring this into your life. So next level is lack of infection. So nothing can attack me. Nothing. No poison, nothing in this universe can attack me. Right? So the third note, if you want to call it that, the third level of sadhana, is when I'm not affected by anything.
Nothing's really bothering me.
More than bothering.
It's bliss.
Yeah, it's a little more than that. It is, you could, somebody could say, for example, suppose I come to you and say, hey Vanshu, I say something that's not nice, let's say.
Okay.
Suppose I insult you or something, right? You can get hurt.
Okay. That way.
You can get hurt. And you'll say, oh, look at this guy, he said something nasty to me. And so that your mind keeps, you'll never forget that. Right? Even after 10 years, you meet the fellow after 10 years, you remember what you said to me 10 years ago? When, at that level of sadhana, when you have heard that third note in Krishna's Venunada, you can say anything you want. You can say anything you want. You're not changing me at all. My inner well-being is not affected by anything you say or do or anything. I'm not infected by that.
Nice. So that's an unshakable place of being.
This is what Arjuna asked in Mahabharata Shri Krishna, Sthita prajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya keshavaha, and says, how does this person sit and talk and blah, blah, blah. And the thing is that when someone has heard that third note in Krishna's Venunada, they're not affected by anything. They're inside, they're always the same, they're not affected by anything. Nothing can cause infection to their mind and spirit. We're not talking about the body, we're talking about the mind and the spirit. What comes after that?
Green.
Green in energy represents samruddhi.
Okay.
Samruddhi means expanse of what? Like, suppose, you look outside that window, when you see all those trees, doesn't it feel good?
It does.
Right?
It's very beautiful and serene.
The same trees, suppose they were brown, you don't feel good, do you?
No.
The same trees, right?
Yeah.
But when you see green, it feels nice, it feels good. That's samruddhi. What samruddhi? Expanse of what? Knowledge, jnana. So at the next level, the fourth note of Krishna's Venunada is what we call yathartha jnana. That is knowledge that is a resource for you. Yathartha, artha means resource. Yathartha jnana means resourceful knowledge. So that knowledge, I'm not talking about chanting some shlokas in Sanskrit or something. Concepts that are ingrained in you, that are resourceful.
Like?
Well, such as, for example, why should you do something? Why should we be doing this thing? Why? Well, there are several reasons. I can say because I like making videos. That's one reason. Or you can say because I want to be famous. Or I want to make money. Whatever, you can have multiple reasons, right? But the correct thing would be, it's not about me. So if somebody says, why do you want to make a video? Immediately I start talking about how it affects me. No. Why are you important? You're doing this for other people to feel good, not for you to feel good. So when you're doing something for other people, and it doesn't matter about you, okay? Even if nobody listens to you, who cares? That's not the point, right?
Correct.
That's not the point. But you're doing it because you want to share something. You share something good, right? Because God has given you something good and you want to share it with somebody. So that is a better, so knowledge, yathartha jnana, is that knowledge that will always make you do things. When I say do, that's a qualified, your karma. Karma comes in three forms, like I said, thought, action and speech. Even your thoughts always about other people, not about you. But usually if you think about it, normally we are always thinking about ourselves. 99% of we are thinking about ourselves, right? I say, I should get this, I should do that. I'm always like a victim, right? I say, everybody is hurting me, nobody understands me, blah, blah, blah. Why is it about you? So when the thing is about other people, that is yathartha jnana. I'm just giving an example. There's so many other things I can talk about. So that samruddhi of that, expanse of that, is the fourth note. Sa re ga ma ma. And interesting, ma, dhatu part of ma, this fellow is smiling. Dhatu part of ma is knowledge in Sanskrita. So even in music, sa re ga ma ma.
Such beautiful connections everywhere.
Right? So ma, dhatu part is knowledge. You ask any Sanskrit Pandit, he'll tell you, I'm not a Sanskrit Pandit, but you ask any Sanskrit Pandit, they'll say, what is the dhatu part of ma? They'll say knowledge. So that's the fourth note, that expanse of that greenery in my heart, not looking outside greenery. I can be looking at brown stuff, but there can be greenery in my heart, right? Always, because of knowledge. That is the fourth note. That's the ma, sa re ga ma, right? What's the next color?
Blue.
Everything, Krishna's color is blue. Everything about it is blue, right? They say Megha-shyama, right? Neela Megha-shyama. Neela means blue. But there are gradations in that. So the first thing you see, like even when you do dhyana, if you're doing dhyana about Sri Krishna, the color that you see inside is blue. Okay? But there are gradations in that. So there are three notes, the upper three notes. We went to Saregama, Pada, Ni, there are three, right? Without getting too much into Pada, Ni and all those things, the fact is that those three notes represents different elevations, elevated levels of Sri Krishna, what some people call Krishna consciousness. So when your prajna consciousness is immersed in that, there are different levels. By the way, there's also ultraviolet. So it's not just violet. So what in English we call blue, indigo, violet.
Right.
So it keeps changing. The blue color, if you just look at dark blue, I don't see anything here, but look at that.
Yeah.
There are gradation. If you look at this blue here, right? That blue, you notice that this blue here, the blue mixed with green color. This blue is more pleasing than this blue. Right? So even that Krishna consciousness, when you start the starting level, that's also nice, by the way, that's a nice color. So anything related to Krishna is nice. Like you said earlier, it's all attractive and nice. So you start there, but he elevates you to even higher levels.
Okay.
Right? So in my life, in this flute, if things are poked, things are coming out, if that is all based on these 7 layers of energy that we talked about, that is when your spirit hears Krishna's Venunada. So you don't have to feel sad that you are not a Gopika 5,000 years ago. Maybe you were, who knows? We don't know that, right? But you don't have to feel sad that, I wish I was born 5,000. Maybe you were, who knows? And you cannot say that, I wish I was a Gopika. You can be a Gopika today, right? And hear Krishna's Venunada in your life, if only we go through this. And as a symbol of that, Sri Krishna is always holding that flute. Because at the end of the day, the flute and all that is fine. It's capable, be careful here, because the bamboo is capable of becoming a flute. It has the capacity. This sadhana sharira has the capacity. You're not born like that. It has the capacity to let Krishna play his music through you.
Wow. This is amazing.
And then all these 7 things. So in this sadhana sharira, if I do the sadhana, like each one of those layers is like poking holes in that bamboo. And then what do? You give that flute to him and say, hey Krishna, play this flute. This is samarpana. I say, I'm offering myself to you. You play the music. Because at the end of the day, only he can play the music. But I have to do all this. Before he can play the music, the bamboo has to become the flute. Bamboo becoming the flute is the sadhana. And then that samarpana, Krishnarpana, saying that my existence, my everything is for you. You play whatever flute you want. You play whatever music you want. I'm just offering this flute to you. I'm offering my existence, this body, this mind, this soul, everything I'm offering it to you. Then he'll pick it up and play the music and you can hear it.
Wow, now found my path.
And what happens is that as far as we are concerned, it should not become just academic knowledge. We have to live that life. And do we really offer like what we are doing right now? Are we really offering to Sri Krishna? Yeah, only then he'll play the music. So when we do that, he'll play the music. And you can hear it too.
This is very interesting. So Professor, I had a few queries. So the moment I think of Lord Krishna, there are a few questions that come into my mind. So one of them is that why are all of us so attracted to Lord Krishna and his Leela, his enchanting personality that he is. All of us are attracted to him. I don't know of a person who does not look at Krishna and say, wow. So why is it like that? What is that is so good about him that we we're in trance. Even for example, when we go to ISKCON temple or Mathura, Vrindavan, Udupi Krishna temple, all of us, we are in a very different feeling altogether. So what is about that attraction, Professor?
Well, when you look at whether it's Krishna or Rama or Narasimha or Matsya, all these different avatars, as we call it, that is manifestation in a form that is comprehensible to us, right? That's all an avatara is. So even Sri Krishna, 5,000 years ago when the avatara took place, even though for all outside people it looked as if a human being was walking in front of them,
Yes.
in reality that form is not a physical form like you and me, but it appears like that to us. So an avatara is a time period of a finite time period when the infinite one, call him by whatever name you want, manifests himself in a specific form for a specific reason. But that's not a physical form, even though to us it appears like physical. So the attraction is not physical. It's not because of something you see. You and me, we are not seeing Krishna right now in front of us. Nobody's running around with a Navilgari in his head, right? So still, what is it that catches our imagination? And the answer to that is, when you look at that, there is a Krishna Avatara and there's a Krishna Rupa. The two are different. Krishna Avatara is that finite time when he manifested himself in front of a finite number of people for whatever reason, right? But the Krishna Rupa is something that was always there, will always be there, forever, right? So the question is, what is that Rupa? What is it that the symbolism we use to represent that is a different thing, right? Whether we're talking about the peacock feather, whatever it is, that is symbolism. But at the root cause, what is it? What is it that attracts us? And the main thing is this. One nice thing about Sanskrit as a language is that you can break it up. It's called nirvachana, that's etymology. You can break it up and you can actually find out something about that, right? So if you look at this thing called Krishna, right? One way of saying that is, it's akarshana shakti. That is, akarshana means attraction. But the question is, that still doesn't explain your question though. You cannot turn around and you say, why is he attractive? And say, I cannot turn around to you and say, because he's attractive, That doesn't make sense. So I want to give you one different take on that, right? So if you break it up, you say Krishna, right? Kara, and then Ushna. If you break it up like that. So you have Ka, Ra, and then Ushna. So you put this together, it becomes Krishna, right? Now, if you take each part, and again I was trying to search for the right English thing, what's called Dhatupata, that is the root meaning, okay, the root meaning of that consonant, like Ka, if you say Ka, Ka can mean many things. So depending on the context, you have to pick the right thing. Okay? So it's like if I say USA, it can stand for United States of America, but it can also stand for something else, right? So similarly, you have to look at the context. So in this particular context, if you look at Ka, Ra, and Ushna, and again, I'm not breaking up that Ushna for a reason. So Ka can stand for karma. Karma, the first thing in karma is Ka, right? So then Ramayate, that is enjoyment. That word is Ra. Ushna means elevated energy. Okay? So that form of the infinite one that gives us elevated energy. Ushna, like in the physical body, if you say there's Ushna, that is like there's too much heat in the body, so that Ushna, right? So we're not talking about that, we're not talking about the physical thing, but in your mind, in the spirit, even going beyond the mind, in your spirit, at the innermost self, right? If you can get elevated, very elevated energy, that is Ushna. Ushna for the spirit, not Ushna for the body. Now, when you do karma, satkarma, good things, right? When you look at karma and you enjoy that, like what you're doing right now, right? So if you thoroughly enjoy that, and if something gives you elevated energy in that, elevated enjoyment, ananda, bliss, if it gives you a tremendous thing in your karma, when you're doing something good, that form of Bhagavanta, that form of the Infinite One, is Krishna. So, knowingly or unknowingly, when we worship Krishna, what happens is, in whatever we do, it doesn't matter what we do, irrespective of what we do, if we find a lot of elevated enjoyment, if you want to call that, enjoyment is not the right word, because when you look, there is enjoyment, there is happiness, and there is bliss. Enjoyment is something that you feel good when you're in contact for something.
Right, with the outer world.
With anything, with the five senses. So you have the five jnanendriyas, right? Perceptory senses. And then there's five objects of perception. It's called Shabda, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Sparsha. Those are five objects of perception. So if you take a rasa, taste, for example. So if you give me a gulab jamun or something, right? So I'm eating that, and suppose I love gulab jamun. I'm eating that, it feels so good. But the thing is that enjoyment lasts only when that gulab jamun is in touch with my tongue. That's all. When it goes inside, that's gone. That's enjoyment. Happiness is something different. Happiness is doing something where that feeling lingers for a while. Whatever it may be, I do something, that actual thing is gone, it's over. But that enjoyment, that feeling lasts for a while. That's happiness, right?
Wow. That's interesting.
Bliss, on the other hand, is something that is permanent. It never changes. So what we are talking about here is not just enjoyment, not even just happiness, but that Paramananda, that bliss. So when you exist the whole life in this blissful state, someone who can give you a lot of energy, that is Krishna.
Okay.
Excuse me.
No worries. So that is why Krishna as a person.
Yeah, because that you feel that energy.
Okay.
You feel that energy of bliss inside when you think of that form. Now, the question is, why don't I feel that when I think of Rama? How come I don't get that with Narasimha? Narasimha Rupa, some people get scared.
Correct.
When they look at Rama, they think of the ideal person. But when you think of Krishna, it's all mischief. It's attractiveness, right?
It's a lot of joy.
It's a joy. It's a joyful thing. The entire Krishna Leela, the Ras Leela, all these things. These are things that's full of enjoyment. But enjoyment in a different way. People look for that by using some substance, or they do weird things to feel that. But the thing is, that is something that is, look, as far as your mind is concerned, okay, because it's all related to the mind, okay. So if your mind has to feel that feeling that you describe, there are two ways of doing that. One is from outside, the other is from inside. If you do it from outside, you can throw some substance into your body, whatever it may be.
Like the example that you just gave of
whatever.
Yeah.
No, gulab jamun doesn't give you. Gulab jamun is one thing, but in your mind, if you want to feel disconnected with things, where this one thing is just overtaken me, right? Gulab jamun, well, maybe it's for some people it does, but for most people, gulab jamun won't do it. So they use other things which are actually harmful to them, right? So when external things are thrown into your body, into your physical body, to have that effect on the mind, that can also, you may feel good. But the problem is this, there's a problem with that. That problem is, again, it is limited to a finite time, right? So it doesn't last forever. So when you come out of that, actually you don't feel good.
That's right.
On the other hand,
That's right.
on the other hand, you can do the same thing to the mind from something from inside.
Okay.
When you do it from inside, what happens after that is still good. You still feel good. Like you may not be in that trance, like you said, you go to Mathura or somewhere. You feel really good. You walk away and now you're not sad or depressed, or your body is not hurt, nothing happens, you're still good, yet you got to experience the same thing as what some substance would do, right? So this is a spiritual way. This is the Vedic way of giving your mind that
relief from everything outside, whatever it may be. And because you're disconnected from that during that period, you don't feel anything because you're not connected to things that usually cause you stress or unhappiness or worries or any of those things, right? So you feel really good because you're disconnected from those things for a while. But when the thing is over, you still, that memory of that feels good, you know. It's not something, and it doesn't harm you in any way. As a matter of fact, it does good things to you.
Yes.
So that's basically what the reason is. And the way you get it, why Krishna in particular, is because if you there's a saying in the Vedas that says, however you do the upasana, you know, that's what whatever you offer is what you get back. That's what it says. So if I focus on a form of, say, Sri Ram, for example. Okay, some people, that's what they like, that's what they do. So when you focus on that form, the thing is, you're sort of like focusing on something that is ideal. So you say, oh, I should also be ideal. You know, I should also be like Sri Ram, you know, be the ideal. I call him Maryada Purusha. So you say, but I know that I'm not like that. So I'll only feel bad. I'll just say, crap, you know. I mean, but I wish I was somewhat like that. I'm not, right? You look at Narasimha. Am I like Hiranyakashipu? Like, do I go after money and all that? And say, ouch, yes. So he gets scared. I say, oh my God. So he's going to come on. Yes, Krishna is not like that. If you look at, when you look at Krishna Rupa, his thing always was that he always came and helped people who were in trouble. Always.
Always. Spread
right?
joy.
Spread joy and enjoyment, happiness. It's more than all of that. It's bliss, spreading bliss, right?
Right.
It's not about, so I look at myself and say, I don't have to be ideal. Nobody's going to come and dig up my intestines. So none of those worries, right? I think of Krishna as you only get elevated energy of bliss. Okay. That's why that particular form, all that mischief and all these things, it makes you smile.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
I think it's the perfect way to look at what there is.
That's right. That's a good way to look at the Infinite One. I'm not saying it's the perfect, everything is perfect about him. There is no imperfect way. Right. But I'm just saying that this particular form, when you focus on that, those are the feelings you get. So in some other form you may get bhakti, you know. So if you look at the ideal one, look at Sri Ram, you know, that you get bhakti, you know, you feel like bowing down because it's perfect. And I say, I'm imperfect, you're perfect, and therefore I bow down. With Krishna, you feel like doing mischief with him, right? So it depends on what aspect of that Infinite One is presented to us. And this one is more exciting for us because, you know, that's how the mind would like to be indulging in mischief, you know, in good mischief, not bad mischief. And so because that's what brings to our heart and our minds, we get attracted to that. That's why we have that attraction towards that particular form.
That's wonderful. It's a great way to look at it, and I learned a lot from this.